Whenever I come to this aspect of my presentations, I always say, oh good, pornography, my favorite subject. And it really throws the kids off. I always like to tell them too, my name is Linda Doering, I'm almost 70 years old, I'm not cool, but I'm very real. So if my realness kind of gets to you, you're going to have to get over it. As teaching professionals, how many of you have faced something dealing with pornography, or you felt somebody was acting out and pornography may be at the root of it? How many of you have ever faced any of that in your organization or school-based? Have you ever felt, oh, the kids are looking at porn?
We asked them.
You've asked the kids, that's the best. What age group do you deal with?
6, 7, 8.
Okay, so when you just asked as a group, how many of you looked at porn, or how many of you have friends who looked at porn? Usually what percentage of it?
You don't get a, like, oh, you know, kind of thing. You're all just kind of looking at each other. And usually somebody will call out, oh, that guy. Yeah, and then they get really nice.
I found the secret. When I started teaching in Jersey City, oftentimes I would separate the boys from the girls, which made it a little easier to address, even though I give the same content. But the 6th grade boys, there's something about 6th grade boys, my mother's heart goes out, like, dang, I gotta talk about STDs, all this stuff. So what I do, I break the ice. I'm the icebreaker, I don't do other things. And I go, how many of you guys have friends, guys your age you know, who are looking at porn? Make it indirect. What percentage of hands always goes up? About 85%. And the rest are lying. Unfortunately, like even when I first started in Jersey City in 1997, I'd have an auditorium of boys, and I'd say, you know, I'm not used to Jersey City. And I'd, what's the porn sites out here? Because then it was this TV, right? Man, all hands went up, 102, 120, whatever, all these kind of cable channels that got to work. When I was walking in the hills in Louisiana in the 80s, the people there, I mean, everybody has a satellite dish. There's just no TV, right? And the adults would tell me that the little kids in elementary school, they waited until their parents went to sleep, and then around 1:30 in the morning, they would be watching porn. And again, this is the 80s, you know? Then they couldn't wait to get to school to talk about all the stuff they learned. Nothing about relationships, nothing about respecting people, just this. So it's becoming kind of a hot mess. I love research, especially now we have brain research. So in your folder, there's a lot of really valuable things. I found this yesterday. This website, the first thing, what I like is they put it in bite-sized pieces. This is how porn leads to loneliness. And there's other ones that deal with the media, and they just do little pockets of information, and they'll have like 1 page of script and 2 pages of citations. And they're, you know, it's really based on science. And then the Dibble Institute, that's a lot of good bite-sized pieces, summaries of different research. To me, my life is my laboratory. What was exciting for me, I think around 2012, yeah. Integrity House, which is a drug court rehab place, they take care of men trying to get out of prison. I did community reentry there, and or they're trying to lessen the drug offense. You know, you go to the classes, get regular testing, you can get out of jail, and all these things. So they were very serious. But I got a call one day, and they said, Miss Linda, you know, now that our guys are clean and sober, maybe for the first time in their lives, they're thinking, my relationships suck. Now they can realize that they're really not happy, you know. And so they asked me to come and speak, so I volunteered to come 3 nights. And then at the end, I had about 30 people. Piercings all over, tats all over. It was just like my cup of tea, you know. And I'd say the average age was 30. I had this young man who says, wow, you don't look that old, because I always tell people I'm almost 70, right? And he says, how old do you think I am? I was trying to be kind and say 48. And he said, no, I'm 35. But his life was so hard. Later on, I was in Verizon. He dragged his sister. Hey, sis, this is the lady I was telling you about. She's amazing, you know. And it was just so nice. And he looked like 20 years younger because he'd stopped doing all this stuff. So then at the end of the 3rd night, The supervisor came in and said, "Men, I want you to give Miss Linda a great big hand. This is her last night." I swear they stood up and almost started throwing chairs. They go, "No, we wanted to stay. You guys are boring." Because a lot of it's just how to avoid drugs, which honestly their classes are very interesting to me. But this was about relationships and, of course, their favorite subject, sex. But a lot of things they had no idea. And I taught about 758 men in about 3 years. So my laboratory went from teaching little 6th graders and then seeing what happens when you continue this lifestyle. Whenever I would ask adults, when did you start using drugs and alcohol? Almost unanimously, hundreds and hundreds of people, 12. Not 18. Even I'll ask the kids, a lot of them will think older, but a lot of them no. And some of them even younger. So the average is around 11. I've met people that were 5 and 6. So a lot of people feel pornography is harmless. We used to have marriage counselors, spice up your relationship. My mother would tell me when the motels in her town in California came out with the XXX rated movies, they would see all the neighbors' cars lined up outside. Parked. They're married. But anyway, and so this is what they were doing, and none of those marriages exist anymore. So is pornography really harmless? I'm not having sex, no pregnancy, no STDs, just me and Pamelita, Juanita. Don't be jealous. Is it really harmless? Who needs the hassles of dating when I have online pornography? Universally, without exception, when I ask men, does he look like he's relieving his stress? They will always say no. It looks like he's creating more. He may not hear a semi-truck blowing his whistle. He's so focused. So they can see by the furrowed brow. And I also ask the young men, 6th grade through 12, how many of you men would have no problem with your daughter, the diamond of your eye, go out and dating a guy who looks at porn all the time? They say, no way, no way. And I said, ladies, please listen to the men. Why won't they let their daughters go out with a guy who just looks at porn? They don't know. The guys know, because then he wants to try out what he was looking at on my daughter. Pornography and sexual aggression. We keep hearing about rapes on college campuses, getting girls high and abusing them, all of these kind of things, putting them on social media, a lot of things. I feel that pornography is at the base. I'm always asking men and boys, how many of you young males were thinking, as soon as you woke up, I'm going to go rape somebody today? They go, what? I go, that inspires me that you have that outrageous behavior, that you say, are you crazy? So it's not something happened. It could have been sexual abuse, we understand that, but a lot of it is pornography which normalizes the abusive sexual behaviors. 33 case studies, that's a huge body of research, said that pornography use, especially hardcore and violent, is linked to verbal bullying. You better give me what I want or I'll find somebody else. Verbal bullying, use of drugs or alcohol as a coercive tactic, and rape by male college students. Basically, we break down all the words. Coercive means what? They're bullying you. They're trying to sneak to you. Students who watch violent pornography were 6 times more likely to use bullying tactics or forcible rape. They really weeded out all the variables and broke it down, that they were 6 times more likely to use bullying tactics and forcible rape. Of course, there's other triggers, but a lot of this, especially what really worries me as I do this work more and more, what is happening to our children's brains? They're imprinting images. They're imprinting behaviors. Their speech, the way they act. It's just like, if they're learning something, they're bored. Because why? They're used to fast colors, pictures, music, like constant stimulation. So when they're actually in an intellectually stimulating environment, they say, dang, this is boring. I want to go find Pokemon, So this is very, very serious. And then when you're mixing drugs and alcohol, again, a lot of this is starting when that developmental stage of that brain is in full acceleration. They feel it's a norm. When I was with my community reentry, I had 20 guys. We got along real good. They were so happy to have me talk to them. And I'm the only female in the room, and the doors are closed. And I was very disturbed because a 12-year-old girl had been dragged up onto the rooftop in Brooklyn and raped. So I had to ask the males, I know what the research says, but what do you say? Men, why is it that men rape small children and women? Why do you think that is? And I wanted to hear some outrage. So one of my guys said, well, to get our needs met. And so I don't let anything show on my face. I said, okay. And I'm assuming the other guys are outraged. They're not agreeing. How many of you agree with what Sammy said? All the hands went up. I was feeling very uncomfortable in that room that night. But pornography and chemical dependency. This young person was told, give us an artistic rendition of your struggle with pornography. What do you think they were trying to say there? It's good. I don't want to do this. I don't want to look. I'm done. I can't help it. I got to come back. The wifey, she says, excuse me, I'm going to go too long. The wife, she says, honey, I want to spend a little quality time with you. Just you and me. But then she says, but I don't feel you're really here. I don't feel you really see me. You don't feel me. Why? He cannot get physically aroused by his own wife without looking at pornography. Cannot physically become aroused by his own wife, the mother of his children, who's devoted her life to him, without looking at pornography. It's a serious, serious issue. This Dr. Douglas Weiss, I saw him on the Oprah show many years ago, and we were really excited to see him because we had studied his research for a few years, and he's like a voice in the wilderness. He has a sexual recovery institute. You will see drug rehab centers, but almost no porn rehab centers. 2 years ago, Pennsylvania opened their first internet addiction center, first of many to come. He said, constant viewing of anything or anyone during a sexual experience creates a sexual desire for that object or person. Sadly, many young men have badly trained their brain by being sexual with themselves before their first real sexual encounter. That's a lot of words, and I asked the youth, can you break that down? They always can. They know exactly what I'm saying, oftentimes firsthand experience. So, it's just like the little boy, he's walking to school. La, 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 he's 11 years old. Oh, on top of the garbage can. Playboy. I like to play. What's Playboy? Oh, man, that's disgusting. Can I see that again? That's about how it happens. They have no idea. They have no idea. It's not that they went out looking for it. In my drug rehab center also, one of really, pretty gangster guy, but he said, men, where do we get our relationship advice? From other men. From other men. So whenever they've done research where, they do these MRIs now, we can see so much going on in the body, the brain. And then when they show the guy the porn magazine, he gets an explosion of excitement in the same excitement center where crack cocaine hits. Why does mama say don't even try crack? Because crack is whack, one hit you can become an addict, right? Same thing with porn. My understanding is, different people are different. Some people could look at it, they'll never look at it again. That's disgusting. But some people, they had a proclivity like Ted Bundy. He was raised in a good home, great parents, and he found a porn magazine in the garbage. And then he became like a mass murderer, killing prostitutes. And he said in his interview just before he was gas chambered or whatever, that's what set him off, and he couldn't stop. So then what happens when this gets excited, what else gets excited? This gets excited. So when they masturbate, whatever they look at when they ejaculate is what they get sexually glued to. Richard oftentimes says it's like a photographic attachment that goes in your brain. You might have looked at it on a Friday night, you're walking to school Monday morning, you still see those pictures and images. The problem is also, just like a drug, in the beginning, wow, that's amazing. I feel so good. But then, as time progresses, you keep chasing that same high, you will never get that same high. But now you have to see more hardcore stuff, you have to see it more often. I have boys that come up to me saying, I can't stop. I have college guys, their eyes are bugging. I just casually talk about porn and sex at the elevator while we wait. With people I don't know. And their eyes, you get right in my face. How can I stop? Because I guess they tried to stop, and they can't. So I wanted to, because I really love real life, and I apologize. This is a little too graphic for you, but it's from a 14-year-old. I had this one young man, kind of jittery in my class in the 7th grade. They calmed down a little bit in the 8th grade. So he's 14 years old. He's in one of my schools. And he gave me a letter. And on the top says, "Can this stay between us?" Well, I'm a reporter, so I always tell the guidance counselor whenever something comes up, right? But I was so deeply moved by his trust. I was so deeply moved. But this is how our programs go, is the kids finally see somebody they can trust, and then we can guide them to the right resource in their school-based resource, right? Dear Miss Linda, when I was 6, my uncle introed me to porn and told me it's the best way to please a girl was to masturbate and get a bigger D ** K. Ever since then, I do it like every day. I can't help it. For the past year, I've been trying to stop. He said once he saw the program, he tried to stop looking at porn, and that's when he realized he really had a problem. I really have a problem. It's getting to the point where I do it right before bed every night. I always shower. I also wake up with a boner like serious. It's really bad. I hate it, but when I'm in the mood, it's so great. But after I'm done, I feel so guilty. Here, nobody has talked to him about porn. Nobody probably really knows he's doing it, but just intrinsically, he just feels something's not right, even at his young age, right? I can't talk to anybody about this because I feel so embarrassed. I could tell you because you're so chill, and I feel like I could talk to you about this. And I'm almost getting to be 15 years old. So I saved this letter. I've had this letter for like 4 years. Because it really reminds me how important this work is, that he could even articulate and pinpoint what he's going through. And there's not a lot of solutions. This is why I'm feeling being proactive and having free discussions about it without shaming or anything, that with the media and all of these outlets. And a lot of times people just get frustrated, so they look at porn. That's not a good way. Yes?
Linda, did you just say that you had not addressed the issue of pornography specifically in your messages?
No, I do.
No, but when he wrote that, you said he had not received any information about pornography.
No, he did receive. He had our program. Let's my words got. He had our program in the 7th grade the year before.
Okay.
So then for the whole year, he told me, because we talked in the hallway too, the teacher told me to go talk to him.
Okay.
And he said he had been trying to stop for a year. Okay. And that's what, then he realized what she's saying is true. Okay. And that's why even when I speak to adults, they don't put things together. Usually we blame the partner. You don't have a body like those people I'm used to doing. You don't have those moves. You don't make noises like them. So they feel, am I inadequate? You know, so it's kind of like a lot of very deep issues there, actually. So that's why it's just like with drugs. Do I need to get drunk, drive into a tree without a seatbelt to know what it feels like? No, I can actually learn from the mistakes of other people. I know 7th graders typically would say, "Oh, Miss Linda, but you got to learn from your mistakes." I go, "Well, your mistakes could kill you." I say the wise young person today, we can learn from the mistakes of other people, because once it gets ingrained, while that brain is developing, they can hate it, not want to do it, and they either are looking at it or they're trying out with other people. So it's kind of a very, and of course this leads to drugs and different things like this too, acting out. And I mean, the boys on the college campuses, yes, there's false reports too, but a lot of times this becomes a big camaraderie. Even with Tiger Woods, it's kind of similar. It wasn't about the sex that they bragged about. It was almost getting caught and how they got it, but not really the act itself, you know, so it becomes very distorted. So, any questions so far? How many of you found that this is kind of a short presentation? I felt this is kind of relatively new? You kind of know, you knew? Okay, good. So what I want to do is 1, 2, Okay, so this is one group and this is one group, and we're going to do like mini breakout sessions, so like you can move chairs and stuff like that. And I need one person to be a reporter, and like maybe on the back of one of your papers or something, list any events at your school or your area, you might even see in the news, or facility where porn may have been a base for some acting out. I even think pornography is a base for bullying. You know, you think somebody's weaker, they're not as sexually appealing, so making fun of people like that, you know. So it makes me feel like better about myself. So a base for acting out, even if it's not actually sex acts, so that's one thing. So just list any events at your school, your area, or facility, anything where porn may have been a base for acting out or something that you saw in the news, and then there'll be a part 2 on that, just if you can come up with 1, 2, or 3 of those. So you guys are. You can see what a serious issue this is. This is like daily life. This is not an occurrence a few times a year, and you know, it's really amazing. And nobody wants to talk. The mainstream media outlets, colleges, they're not really talking about this. Yes.
Linda, did you catch an article? A few of us remember it, but not with a whole lot of detail. Within the last 2 to 3 weeks, there was a major headline story about something, you know, paraphrase. Now we know how harmful pornography is. Did you see it? I think I can dig it out of my inbox and I will send it.
Please send it, yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't have a chance at that moment, but I thought, wow, I'm glad to see it hit, you know,
It's at a basis, but people feel like, I think because a lot of people are users, so therefore they feel, oh, I'm a hypocrite if I say something. No, you can stop your behavior, and it's never too late to stop, but they will, because I've talked to adults. I had this adult class where girls were trying to get the GED. Average age was 35. She says, oh yeah, I look at porn all the time. Me and my boyfriend, we put the kids in the room, which is like a small apartment, right? And then, so she was really liking it, and I did like a 45-minute presentation on a lot of things about pornography. And she came at me, her eyes were bugging. She says, we need help. Like in 45 minutes, she went from, this is fun, there's nothing wrong with this, to we really need help. So it's just creating that awareness, but if we can nip it in the bud or head it off at the pass so kids can use discretion, it'd be interesting. So who's the first one that wants to talk about situations in the area? Thank you so much. I love volunteers.
Oh, well, thanks.
No, it's okay. I'll let you get out.
So,
Actually, why don't you stand here?
I didn't put any makeup.
No, you look good.
Beautiful. Stunning.
I don't want to stand next to you.
All right, good morning.
So this is TA.
So our group talked about the fact that in some school districts, there's actually a web page called Exposed, and it talks about students, girls who have unfortunately sent sexting messages to their classmates and didn't know that it was being passed around. And we heard of a girl who did that in middle school, and it caught up to her again when she was in high school. She was trying to get over it, so no one really talks about the emotional harm that it does to that child. So it was dealing with that. Also, we talked about the fact that sometimes, personally, when we were exposed to perhaps pornography or Playboy, it was at someone else's house that you didn't know what you were looking at, and you're like, what is this? And we talked about the fact that even though it was for just an instant, that those images still remain in the brain. And also how easy it is for the children to get drawn in while they're doing research, because it's pop-ups and curiosity is just, oh, well, I'm going to click, and then they're like, oh, what is that? Not knowing that once they click, they'll keep popping up more frequently. And also, too, the fact that sometimes it's through peer pressure of their friends saying, well, you missed that, so maybe you should watch it. And the strategies that we talked about were the fact that they need to, the parents and the community, to be more proactive to tell people that these are the issues that the adolescents are dealing with, and through community involvement by talking about the negative impacts of pornography on not only on the child's development but also on their future relationships, and the fact that we need parent workshops with both mother and daughters and the fathers and sons of the same gender being in the same room talking about the same topic and not being embarrassed or ashamed to say they were victims or they had circumstances where this impacted their life in a negative way. Also, to talk to the students as to how they're exposed to these negative messages in regards through the lyrics that they listen to and the media that they're exposed to, that perhaps they don't know that they themselves are promoting these messages because it's ingrained in the tune that goes in their head. So the best way is to have the student know that pornography is a fantasy world and relationships are the real world, and that they need the proper tools to decipher as to what's fantasy and what reality is. And also to offer them alternatives and the proper tools to have healthier relationships. And that was it.
Wow. That was a great presentation in itself. That's amazing. So, we said the same thing.
I heard some different things going on. Okay, who's the most shy? They have to stand up and make yourself known here for the panelists. You're her cheerleaders, okay? So.
You got it. We were kind of on the same wavelength. We're talking about, we encounter this a lot, kind of discussions about pornography in schools, and it seems that it's we talked about the same thing with the Instagram pictures of the girls who were willing to put up photos of themselves in various stages of undress, and how it became a big thing at the middle school last year. And how do you find out that that's happening? And I guess it just happened that everyone in the school eventually found out that this had been posted and this was out there. We had talk about the discussion. For me personally, when I walk into a boys' class, it's mostly boys in the class. The hand goes up, you all know what they want to ask, right?
The masturbation question.
I get the masturbation question, I guess like you know, they think this is the only, we'll see what we can get going. But it's hard to answer that question in the classroom. I always say to them that that's a symptom of something that's going on. And also, perhaps you need to evaluate that. Is there something else going on, or you need to find some other activity to be involved with? The parents cannot control access to porn. It's just so easily obtained anymore. And music bombards the kids with images. So it's not even visual images. Sometimes we need to be concerned about, but what they're hearing, and it all says that this is good and it's okay. So proactive, we're looking forward to that article that Bernadette was talking about. It's based on scientific research on the addictiveness, I believe, of pornography. And we were talking about how it would be very helpful to get some medical people on board and get this information from that direction out into our communities as well. Pediatricians, I don't know, somehow get it into where the medical field is helping us with this. We need to present findings about pornography in the classroom and not shy away from bringing it up as a topic and a concern. It will impact how they are able to relate to other people, have relationships in the future, and we need to emphasize that. And we also talked about the desensitization that we're experiencing to what is even pornography, or is it just normal stuff we hear on music and normal stuff now we see on TV? Where's the line between, regular TV, regular music, and pornography? And perhaps bringing that up, not in a way of censoring, but in a way of people being aware, of kids being aware that, like you were saying, if they're singing la 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 the song, and then they actually look at the lyrics, and then they go, oh my gosh, that's what that song's about? we need to do more of that. So that's what we came up with.
Wonderful. See, we kind of overlapped, but everybody gave a very distinct and unique problem solving and just an awareness. And I know all of you or think like we do. We want to be proactive and kind of warn people. You know, just like driver's ed courses, you want to give them when they're really young. Because the kids don't know how to navigate, because nobody's talking about this. Not talking is not protection. You know? Yes.
I just had another thought, and I think maybe we talked about it, I'm not sure, but you originally put it in the context of really of a bullying activity, right? Well, you know, we might have more allies in schools than we know, because anti-bullying is the hugest movement in schools today. I mean, it gets funded, there's an anti-bullying expert
Every
on every
page.
staff. So, if we can make the connection between this behavior, this activity, and the whole world of bullying, I think we'll make more friends in schools, and then the whole school community, the culture of a school can turn its attention to this as a very, very threatening, right?
That's an excellent idea. And again, every homepage, they'll have the principal, vice principal, and anti-bullying specialist. Yeah, so that's an excellent
Good way to outreach, at least just try to start.
So let's give everybody a great big hand.